Yes, I do.
Have a seat, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Hello.
Please introduce yourself to the jury.
My name is Sergeant Daniel Pender with the Marion County Sheriff's Office.
What do you do now?
I am currently assigned to the patrol division as a road supervisor.
What does that involve?
I have several deputies, several zones throughout the county that I supervise. I go up to the deputies, what they're working on. I approve their cases, just supervise what they're doing throughout the day.
Before you were promoted to be a sergeant like you are now, what did you do for the sheriff's office?
I was a major crimes detective.
What did that involve?
As a major crimes detective, I worked in Special Victims Unit. I also worked in robbery and homicide. As a detective, I was assigned cases to review, investigate. I was an on-call detective. I was called out to cases whenever they happened.
And how would you get assigned a case? You mentioned being on call.
Yes. So some of the cases, whenever it was hours that we weren't working, we were an on-call detective. Our phone would ring. We were called by an on-call supervisor and say, go here and investigate this.
How long were you a major crimes detective for the sheriff's office?
About approximately 8 years.
How long have you worked for the Marion County Sheriff's Office in total?
I started in 2009, so like 16 years.
Except for this case, have you investigated other homicides?
Yes.
Can you estimate about how many?
Approximately 15, 20.
Let me direct your attention to March 25th, 2023. Were you notified regarding a suspicious death of a person later known to be Timothy Smith?
Yes.
Did you respond to the scene?
Yes, I did.
And were you given kind of an update of what deputies and law enforcement's investigation had revealed up to the point where you got involved?
Yes.
When you arrived did you go to the apartment scene located at 1980 Southeast 40th Street Road?
Yes, I did.
And when you arrived, what was going on?
There was crime scene tape that was put up in front of the apartment that was cordoning it off. There was the first responding deputy was there, and they were waiting for me to begin my investigation.
Is that standard that when the initial deputies who respond to a call kind of start the investigation and then they call the major crimes detective?
Yes.
Had Tim Smith's body already been removed from the scene by the time you got there?
No.
Okay. Was Tim Smith's body removed shortly after you arrived?
Yes.
Okay. Was Herbert Swilly on scene when you arrived?
Yes.
And do you see Mr. Swilly here in court?
Yes, I do.
Can you please point him out and tell me what he's wearing?
He's wearing the diagonal striped tie.
Your Honor, may the record reflect the witnesses identify the defendant?
Does that reflect?
Was anyone else associated with either the victim, Tim Smith, or the defendant, Herbert Swilly, also there on scene, like friends, coworkers, family, anything like that?
Yeah, I believe there's also a coworker that was over across the street from it.
Do you remember who that was?
No, I don't remember her name right now.
Her name Tammy Warner?
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
Okay. Did you go inside the residence?
Yes, I did.
Did you look to see whether there was any signs of forced entry?
Yes.
And what did you find?
I didn't find any signs of forced entry.
And what is meant by that term?
I didn't find that the door was pried open. I didn't find any damage to the locks. I didn't find that the door jamb was altered. I didn't find any broken windows or anything like that.
When you first entered the residence, did you smell anything unique?
Yes.
What did you smell?
There was a strong smell of bleach.
We've already heard from crime scene investigators, so I'm not going to go back and go over everything that was analyzed and collected. But did you notice, any signs of a struggle inside the residence?
No.
What kind of things would you look for?
As an investigator, when I'm going in looking for a struggle, I'm looking, are things knocked over? Are things out of place? Is there damage to the walls or damage to the doors? Is there any kind of blood spatter that's gone on the wall from something?
None of that.
No, none of that.
What was the inside of the residence like?
It was clean and orderly.
After you entered the residence and looked around, did you make contact with the defendant?
Yes.
Can you just, first of all, where did you first make contact with him?
Sure. I asked him if he'd come and speak with me. We were out in front of the house in the roadway area.
Okay. Describe that first contact with the defendant. Specifically, what was his demeanor like when you first spoke to him?
He was pleasant and calm.
Did you interview him?
Yes.
Where did that interview take place?
In the front seat of my unmarked detective SUV. He sat up front, and I sat up front.
During that interview, did he tell you how long he and the victim had been together?
Yes.
How long?
They had been married, I think, for, it was 8 years, approximately.
Did he tell you how long they had been together in total?
It was longer than 10 years, maybe 15 years they'd been together as a couple.
What did he tell you about the purpose of that apartment that you guys were at?
The apartment was a recreational apartment for them. They would go there and host events, meet with people, those kind of things. It was supposed to be for fun.
What did he tell you about whether he, the defendant, or the victim used dating applications like Adam for Adam or Grindr to meet people?
He told me they both used those applications.
And did the defendant tell you whether both he and the victim used that apartment for sexual encounters?
Yes, they both used it for different things.
And how did he describe those sexual encounter meetings?
The sexual encounter meetings, it could be sex. He said there could be role-playing. There could be fantasies that go on. Because in there was also like a massage table, a sling. They said that it was a place for them to have fun in.
What did he tell you that they did with their personal belongings when they would meet somebody at that apartment for this activity?
Herbert told me that they would put their personal belongings either in the refrigerator, the freezer, or like in the washer or the dryer.
Did the defendant tell you whether it was common for the victim to bring a firearm with him when he went to these encounters at the apartment?
Yes. Herbert told me that Tim, the victim in this case, would always bring a firearm with him whenever he was meeting with these people.
Did he tell you whether the victim had the firearm in the apartment or if he found it in a different location?
Herbert told me that he found the firearm was not with him, that the firearm was back at the house where they live and sleep at.
What did the defendant tell you about whether he had a key to that apartment?
Herbert told me that his key, which should be on his key ring, was not on his key ring, and he said that the victim, Tim, was notorious for taking his key off the key ring whenever he was going to go to the apartment and use it.
Did he tell you why the victim would take the key off?
Yeah, he said that Tim didn't want to be interrupted, so he would take the key off of his key ring.
Did the defendant tell you anything about what he would do with the victim's key if the defendant was the one that was going to use the apartment himself?
Yes, so if Herbert was going to go and use the apartment himself, he said that he usually would go and then take the key back from Tim so that he wouldn't have the key.
What did the defendant tell you about the last time he saw the victim, Tim Smith?
Herbert told me that the last time he saw Tim Smith was at approximately 9:30 p.m. at the house that they live and they sleep in, and he said Herbert was going to sleep and he saw that Tim was taking his like sleep medications or vitamins.
And you said 9:30. What day would that have been?
Yeah, it was 9:30 on March 23rd.
That would have been Thursday?
Yes, Thursday.
Okay. Did the defendant tell you whether he takes some kind of sleep medication to help him sleep?
Yes, Herbert told me that whenever he went to sleep at 9:30, he himself took melatonin and his other sleep medicines, and he described that whenever he goes to sleep, he sleeps hard, and he sleeps throughout the night.
Did he tell you whether he heard anything at the house that night, that Thursday night after they went to bed?
Yes, he said at about 11 o'clock at night, he heard a loud noise, but he didn't see the victim, and seemed like he didn't investigate it any further.
Did he indicate to you that he slept at the house the entire night?
Yes.
What did he say he did the next morning, Friday morning now?
He woke up at 4:40 a.m., went to Planet Fitness, and worked out.
And what did he do after he was finishing working out?
After he got done working out, he came back to the house, took a shower, and then went back out at about 6:40 to go to Lowe's to get some stuff for his work that day.
When he got up at 4:40 to go to the gym, did he tell you whether or not the victim, Tim Smith, was there in the house?
He said that the light was off in the room. He didn't turn the light back on, but he saw what looked like in the bed. It appeared to be the victim was in the bed.
You said then he told you he went to Lowe's?
Yes.
And what did he tell you he did after he went to Lowe's?
After he picked up the stuff at Lowe's, went back to the primary house again where they live at, and then left there at approximately 7:30 to go down to the Villages to start doing his handy jobs for the day.
What kind of work did he tell you he did at the Villages?
He does handiwork. He installed that day a faucet and a Ring doorbell camera.
And did your investigation confirm that he actually did go to Planet Fitness and to Lowe's and to the Villages to do work?
Yes.
Did the defendant say whether when he got back to the house after he went to Lowe's at about 7:30 or 7:45, whether the victim was there at the house then?
At 7:30 and 7:45, when he got back from Lowe's, he said that the victim was gone at that point. He wasn't there anymore.
He talked to you about going to Planet Fitness, about going to Lowe's, going to the Villages for work. Did he ever, during this interview, mention that he went to the landfill that morning?
No.
When the defendant left the house again to go to when he went to go to Lowe's, did he mention anything about whether he saw the victim's Jeep on the property?
No. Whenever he went to Lowe's at about 6:40, the Jeep would have been out in the garage. He said that he didn't go out there. He didn't know if the Jeep was there at 6:40.
At some point later on when he got back from Lowe's, did he indicate that he checked the garage for the victim's Jeep?
Yes. He said whenever he got back and he left the house at 7:30, he looked in the garage. Jeep wasn't there. He assumed he went to work.
What did he say he did for lunch that day?
He went to Ivy on the square with his daughter, Jordan.
And what did he say they did after they got back to the house after lunch?
After lunchtime at Ivy on the square, they went back to the house. They both laid down and took naps.
What did he tell you about trying to contact the victim throughout the day?
He told me that he texted the victim throughout the day. He said that the victim didn't respond, which wasn't unusual.
Did he say whether he ever attempted to physically call the victim?
He never mentioned that he did.
Okay. And what did he say about learning that the victim was missing? How did he come to know that?
Approximately 4 o'clock, someone from Tim's work called up Herbert and said that he hadn't come to work at that point. That's whenever he said that he was first alerted to this. And that's whenever he said he went over to the apartment.
Did he tell you whether he thought it was unusual that the victim wouldn't show up for work?
Yes. He told me that it was unusual that he wouldn't go to work and that it made him concerned.
You said he then went to the apartment?
Yes, he then went over to the apartment. He saw that the Jeep was parked out front of the apartment. He told me that he banged on the door and called the sheriff's office non-emergency line.
Did the defendant tell you whether or not he thought at this point there was an emergency situation?
He didn't think there was.
And did he tell you why?
He said that he thought that Tim was just being pissed off. He was just upset about something.
Did the defendant tell you about a deputy coming and doing a well-being check on the house?
Yes, he did.
What did he say?
He said that the deputy went there, knocked on the doors, looked in the windows, and ultimately wasn't able to make entry because he didn't have a key. He said that the deputy told him that he could not break in and that he could call the hospitals and friends and follow up later if he did have a key.
Okay, so the defendant told you, the deputy said, hey, call the hospitals or call the friends and see what's going on.
Yes.
What did the defendant tell you he did to try to get a key to enter the apartment? Because you said he told you he lost his key.
Herbert told me that he went in his phone and he tried to call Jack, the landlord. However, in his phone, he had a different Jack L. He called the wrong person. He tells me that this person didn't get back to him until later, and he had to call the correct Jack later to get the key. There was a mix-up initially.
So what did the defendant tell you he did the following morning, the Saturday morning?
So now Saturday morning comes along. Herbert told me that he did his normal routine in the morning. Then he got a hold of the correct Jack, the landlord, who was able to get the key and bring it there out to the apartment.
And is that the period of time where the victim's body was found inside by deputies?
Yes.
Okay. Did you ask the defendant specifically if the victim had any medical issues?
Yes, I did.
What did he say?
He says that he had restless leg syndrome.
Did he mention any other medical conditions besides that?
No.
At any time during your interview, especially during this conversation about medical issues, did the defendant mention whether the victim had been in the hospital recently?
No.
Did you ask permission to eventually go to his and the victim's residence, their main residence, to document the medications the victim was taking?
Yes.
And did he give you permission?
Yes.
During this interview, did the defendant describe the victim's mood, like leading up to the time he was killed?
He said in the last 1 or 2 months that Tim had been kind of moody, kind of weird.
Did you talk with the defendant about his and the victim's sexual practices a bit more?
Yes, I did.
What did the defendant tell you about bondage?
I learned that this was something that the victim, Tim, would participate in. And that in the bondage events that Tim wanted to do, he would always be the one that was doing the bonding. He was the one that was in control. That Tim would be the one that would be tying up the other person, and that Tim did not like to be tied up, and that wasn't his thing that he liked.
So would that be, we know the victim's body, he had a ligature mark around his neck, right?
Yes.
Would that be inconsistent with knowing the victim's sexual practice habits of this being something sexually related that the victim wanted to be tied up?
Yes, that is inconsistent.
Did you specifically ask the defendant if there were any problems in his and Tim Smith's relationship?
Yes.
What do you say?
He said that they didn't have any problems, that there was no conflicts between them.
About how long was this interview?
It's about 43 minutes.
During the entire 43 minutes of the interview, did the defendant ever ask you how the victim died?
No.
Did he ever ask you to explain what was found or the condition of his body?
No. Red iPhone.
Okay. Showing you what's been marked as case exhibit KK for identification. Do you recognize that item?
Yes, I do.
Can you open it up, look inside, tell me if you recognize the contents?
That's the phone that I located inside of the red case inside the bag.
And did you take immediate possession of that when CSI Cat Medina found the bag?
Yes, I did.
Is that in the same or substantially the same condition as when you collected it?
Yes, it has my initials and ID number on it.
This time statement moved KK into evidence as 37.
No objection. Without objections, states KK, evidence states number 37.
Did you determine whether this phone was the victim's work phone or personal phone?
That is his work phone.
Did you look around the washer and dryer, the shelving around it, to locate whether there was any kind of a cleaning product consistent with bleach? You
Yes.
said you smelled bleach earlier when you walked in.
Yes.
Did you find anything?
No.
Did you look around the entire residence, or did you and other crime scene investigators,
Yes, I searched the residence for any kind of bleach.
did you find any bleach in the residence whatsoever?
No.
Did you ask the defendant whether they used bleach or other similar smelling cleaning products?
He told me there should not be any bleach in that apartment.
Did he tell you why?
He told me that Tim, the victim in this case, would get headaches from it, so they didn't have it in there.
where was the odor of bleach strongest in the apartment?
Where Tim's body was at.
Was a second phone located in the apartment?
Yes.
Where was that found?
It was in the toolbox in the room with the sling and the massage table.
Showing you photograph 8 from States 18. What does this show?
That is the toolbox that's next to the sling, and that's the top section where the phone was located.
Did you take possession of that phone as well?
Yes.
Showing USB marked as States Exhibit LL for identification. You recognize that item?
It has my ID and signature on it.
Okay, can you open it up, look inside?
Yes.
Tell me if you recognize it.
Yes.
What is that?
Appears to be the victim's phone that was collected from the top of the toolbox.
Is it in the same or substantially the same condition as when you collected it and packaged it that day?
Yes.
State would move LL into evidence as 38.
No objection.
LL will be named as case number 38.
Were both the victim's personal phone as well as his work phone given to someone to analyze?
Yes.
And who were they given to?
I gave them to Jesse Newbanks.
Who is that?
He was our digital forensic analyst at the time.
And how did it come about that you gave those items to Jesse Newbanks?
I handed them to him.
He was called to the scene and came?
Yes, he came out to the scene so he could collect them.
Okay. And did he perform or attempt to perform extraction of the data on those phones during the course of the investigation?
Yes.
And you're going to be recalled at a later time to talk a little more about that, so I'm not going to do that right now. Did the defendant indicate that he was going to go leave? He was going to leave the scene and go get something to eat.
Yes.
Did you call him back and ask him to come back to the scene at some point?
Yes.
Why?
I wanted to do a walk through the apartment with just him to try to find anything that was out of place or of evidentiary value in there.
Did he in fact return to the scene?
Yes.
Did anyone come with him?
He was with his father.
When he arrived, did you in fact do a walkthrough of the scene and have him point out certain things that he indicated to you were out of place?
Yes.
And who went inside the apartment during this walkthrough?
It was me, Lieutenant Calhoun, which is the supervisor of the crime scene technicians, Herbert, and then there was a crime scene technician to take pictures. That was it.
Okay. Did the defendant's father go inside the house during this walkthrough?
No.
And why would you not have let that happen?
It's an active crime scene in a homicide case. I don't want anybody going in there. I let him go in there, let Herbert go in there, because he had shared the apartment anyways, and he's the best person to point out if something's out of place.
I'm assuming at this point Tim Smith's body had been removed.
Yes.
Okay. Generally, what happened during the walkthrough?
We went from room to room throughout the apartment, and he would point out different things in different rooms that he would tell me about or he would think was out of place. For example, when we went into the kitchen, he would point out that there was a bowl on the kitchen counter, and he said that when they entertain guests, when they have people over, that they would normally have some food, some chips or whatever it may be. We went into the bedroom where Tim was found. He pointed out that there were some towels missing. He pointed out some sexual lubricant that was supposed to be in another room that was in that room. He pointed out that there was some leather items that were supposed to be hung a certain way. They were not hung the correct way, and that there was some sex toys in the other room that he said appeared to be dirty, which would be unusual. Those things were supposed to be cleaned.
During this conversation you had with him, did he also back off his initial claim that he knocked on the apartment door when he showed up the day earlier?
Yes, I had talked to him, and I asked him about the banging on the door thing, and he came off that and backed off of it and said that he didn't bang on the door.
At some point, did you request permission to collect a DNA sample from the inside of his cheek?
Yes.
Did he agree with you, or did he cooperate with that?
Yes.
Was that DNA sample collected?
Yes, it was.
By whom?
Kat Medina collected it, one of the crime scene technicians.
And can you describe the defendant's demeanor during that process?
He was laughing. He was pleasant during that procedure.
Did you also locate the victim's white Jeep parked in front of this apartment?
Yes, I did.
Were you given permission to look inside by the defendant?
Yes.
What did you see?
It looked like it was messy, like somebody that would use it to go to and from work. There was no signs of any disturbance, no obvious signs of blood or anything in it.
What was done with the Jeep at that point?
We photographed it and then released it back to Herbert.
And why was it released back to the defendant?
At that point, the sheriff's office had no reason to hold it.
Did you ask the defendant if you and a crime scene technician, specifically Taylor Paxton, could go to his house and collect the victim's medication?
Yes.
And on that same day, did you travel to his residence?
Yes.
The address 4388 Southeast 26th Court Road.
Yes.
Is that in Marion County?
Yes, it is.
While you were at the defendant's residence for the purpose of collecting and documenting the medications and things, did you notice if there was a surveillance system installed on the defendant's property?
Yes, I did.
What'd you see?
By the front door, there was a Ring doorbell camera right next to it.
And generally, for those jurors who may not know what a Ring doorbell camera is, what is that?
Sure. So a Ring doorbell camera essentially takes the place of your doorbell. When you push it, it would take a recording, but they're also set up for motion activation, and they'll record for security reasons who passes in front of them.
Can you access the footage that the Ring doorbell camera records from your phone?
Yes.
How's that done?
So whenever the video is taken, it's provided to the Ring application up in their cloud, and then if you want to go on your phone, you can load the Ring application, and you can look through any motion or anything that's happening that camera collected.
Is there like a timeline on the application itself so you can pick and choose when you want to look?
Yes, there's a timeline view, so you can scroll through if it was that day or the prior day or whatever it may be, and you can see the way that the videos are lined out, time-stamped, the way that Ring puts it on the timeline.
Knowing that there was a surveillance system in place, what did you do?
I knew that Tim was last seen alive, per what I was being told, at 9:30 on Thursday night, so I started looking at what happened after 9:30 on Thursday night.
And how did you look? How did you get access to this information?
So I was talking to Herbert, and Herbert provided his phone over, and I was able to look at some of this video.
Okay. Are you also able to delete videos from using the same Ring application?
Yes.
How's that done?
If you didn't want a video file that was there, you could just click it and click delete, and it'll delete it off of the cloud and delete it off the device.
And when you delete a video recorded from the Ring camera, does it still leave a still shot of the recorded image on your phone?
Yes.
How do you know that?
Something that I went and found out myself to try to find out if this would happen. I was able to replicate it on my own Ring application.
So when you take the defendant's phone, you're looking through the Ring application, what period of time did you start looking at?
Early Friday morning.
Okay. And what did you notice when you started looking through early Friday morning?
There's no video there.
Okay. Did you see any images from video that used to be there?
Yes. So instead of there being video there, when I'm looking at this timeline, the videos stop at some point, and then there's just these still images that are sitting in the timeline with no video attached to them.
And during what period of time were those still images that didn't have video associated with them?
This is starting at about 1 a.m.
Okay. As far as the camera angle that created these images, were they from the Ring doorbell camera you saw on the doorbell?
No.
Where vantage point was this camera from?
There was at least one other camera on the property, because the vantage point that I was looking at when I see these still images was oriented towards the detached garage, so from a high point of view.
I'm going to ask some specifics about what the still images showed in a few minutes, but generally, what did those images show you?
Ultimately, some of the still images are going to